Hello guys and welcome to a video of Golden Gardens. Today we're going to be planting out some Egyptian walking onion bulbs and top sets. I'm thinking of planting this, I think it's a 2.5 by 7 foot bed. We're going to be planting some of these onion bulbs, Egyptian walking onions, and some of these top sets that I was able to collect. To give you guys an idea of how many onions it took to get all of these, it wasn't that many. It was 10 bulbs actually, 10 little shriveled top sets that I got from Amazon. I planted them originally late around December, but the temperatures were a little warm, so that's why I decided to plant them. And they did well, and they grew into these bulbs. They're not extremely big like an onion, but they're around the size of a shallot, maybe even a little bigger for some. As you can see, they do split. You see that? They split. They were split into more than just two, but I decided to split them up. Each small little top set around this size, this is probably a millimeter, maybe 2, 3 around there. It's very small. They grew into clumps of, I got anywhere from 4 all the way to 8 bulbs per plant. Of course, the ones that had 8 were a little smaller, something more like this, and the ones that split into 4 were something more like this. So if you want them for processing, it's best to have them bigger, but you can also just eat Egyptian walking onions when they're more like scallions. Alright, so let's get to planting. Alright, I selected the bulbs that I was going to plant. I mainly put the ones that sprouted. And I didn't tell you guys in the last part, but if you're wondering how many bulbs I got from the 10 little small bulblets, they were the size, like, they were around one of these, just a singular little bulb size. Not even this size. This might have been the biggest that I got in the order. But in total, from the top sets, I got around 25. I only let around 5 plants throw out top sets, and they threw top sets around July. And I harvested them late August, maybe early September. And for the big bulbs, they produced around, I'd say 55, around 55 from 10. So that's very good. So I'm just get these small ones in, and just cover them with soil, and that's it. All right, that's it. They're all planted in. I put some fertilizer, some organic Espoma fertilizer. I think it's a 433 garden tone. No, sorry, it's plant tone. And that's it. So you can't see the small bulbs, well, except for maybe this first row, because the others are buried in about, I'd say, 1/4 of an inch of soil. So they should be popping up in around next few weeks maybe. Okay, so these are the toy onions that were in front. They're dying back now. It's early May, so it's time to harvest some. These are the Egyptian walking onions. They have a bunch of little bulbs, and these should take around a month to a month and a half more, so I should be harvesting these around late July, somewhere around that time. And what's interesting about these is that even when there's a little bulb down here, they throw out other flower spikes. But yeah, this is mainly about the toy onions right now. I'm harvesting them, and this is pretty crazy. This was one toy onion, and it turned into like 30, around that number. It's a lot. Not all clumps grow the same though. This one's a little smaller, maybe 10 to 15. Yeah, so that's the update. Pretty cool. Alright, so now I'm just getting to edit the video. I wanted to show you guys the full process and how I ended up using the harvest. So I wanted to show you guys, first of all, the Egyptian walking onions. These are super awesome. Of course, please exclude some of this garlic that is mixed in between here. First thing that I wanted to point out, these are a bit of a hassle to peel, as you guys will see in like the little cooking segment I made, where I made some Irani samosas. They were very delicious, although I think the tamarind chutney could have been just a bit less sweet. I added a bit too much brown sugar, but they were very good. So yeah, these are kind of a hassle to peel. They're not very convenient for processing, but honestly, just the history and the way that they grow, the growth habit, and the massive size of the clumps, it kind of makes up for it. I mean, it still is kind of annoying to have to peel them all, but they're very awesome to grow. And yeah, they're not very big. They're like pretty small. They're the size of like a big garlic clove, if that puts it into perspective. But yeah, I used about a fifth of the harvest. I had a clump that was about 60 or more individual toy onions. It was insane and very awesome. Here are the Egyptian walking onion top sets. I think these might actually outweigh the bulbs that were underneath, actually in the ground. So it is absolutely insane. They range from these, which actually formed from flowers. So that's interesting. There might be a way to hybridize them with other allium species somehow if they're compatible. And then these are the bigger ones of the range. There were some that were actually like a bit more standout, a bit bigger. Maybe like these. I think this was one of the bigger ones. Absolutely massive for an like onion growing out of another onion. Pretty awesome. Then these were also pretty normal. The majority, I'd say, were about this size, if not a bit bigger. I'll see if I could find some. Yeah, but anywhere from this size to like these massive ones. Absolutely insane. I do not want to count all of these. I still have this other crate full of them. Very, very insane how many Egyptian walking onion bulbos there are. And this was the actual, or these were the actual like bulbs that were underground. I mean, there's a bunch of variation. There's these bigger ones, these which are smaller. And what I think I noticed is that just like garlic, if you plant out like these big ones, which I did originally, they grow into a lot of like small ones. And for processing, it's easier to get big bulbs, which you would end up getting if you planted smaller bulbs. But yeah, this is just one right here. And they were also like this. The majority were like these, a bit more of this size. And then there were others that were like this. So in between these and these, basically. So yeah, that's great. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Alright, so I'm going to be making some onion samosas. I have some garam masala right here, some spices, and yeah, these are the Egyptian walking onions from the harvest, some of these, and there's some shallots here, some toy onions, smaller onions from the
well, from the onions that I harvested. Then there's some ginger here too. There's a little piece of turmeric that I harvested like last year, I think, and some chilies from the garden, and then a lime. So yeah, I'm gonna be making some onion samosas. All right, by no means am I a chef, but here's the mix. It smells very good. That garam masala has a bunch of spices and makes it smell very good. And here are the samosa patis. I think that's what they're called. Patis. This one looks more like a tortilla. It's pretty thick. It's supposed to look a little more like this, a bit translucent. This one looks nice. So yeah, I'm just get to filling them up and then fry them. Oh, also I forgot to note that I had to make a bunch because the first batch I kind of messed them up, but I started getting the hang of it. Yeah, so that's the update for now. I'm gonna show you guys how I'm making the samosas. You grab a little corner, bring it up. You see, there's like a little translucent triangle over here, like right there. And then you do this. So there's a little corner over here. And you just fill in your little pocket. And then go like that. And this little flap. That's it. After a long time, these are the samosas. Irani samosas. These are fried. And these were cooked in an air fryer. So if you want to make a healthier version, you can put them in the air fryer. And they're pretty good too. And then I made this tamarind chutney. It's pretty good. So yeah, we turned some Egyptian walking onions, shallots, toy onions, and a couple normal onions into some delicious samosas with this tamarind chutney. So I'm gonna enjoy this now. Thank you for watching. Bye.